It's always exciting when the world of Azeroth leads you somewhere surprising or unique, a feature of the game world that you might take for granted at first, but upon closer inspection is full of interesting details or things you might have missed on a first or second playthrough. As I've been leveling up my hardcore anniversary character, I've recently been on the lookout for landmarks and quests that stand out to me in a new or different way. Today, I want to examine one specific location that I think has gone underappreciated in the world of classic WoW. The Thandol Span, a pair of massive bridges that connect the dwarven lands of Khaz Modan to the human region of Lordaeron in the north. Most players might spend only minutes, or even mere seconds, traveling across here on their leveling journey, but taking the time to explore the area reveals many more secrets, especially to Alliance adventurers. Let's unpack the history, design, and hard-to-find secrets of this unique war-torn region, including the storyline that brings us here. As always, thank you for the fun comments and support, and with all that being said, let's get right into it. Let's begin with a bit of history. The Thandol Span was constructed by the dwarves over 250 years before the start of classic WoW, a symbol of trade and prosperity between the Ironforge clan and their Wildhammer cousins following the destructive War of Three Hammers. The nearby town of Dunmodra also grew as a hub of commerce, located in a small valley just to the south of the Twin Bridges, which link the Wetlands to the Arathi Highlands. The span was once a point of contention between the Alliance and Horde during the Second War, but was eventually reclaimed until the time of Classic. The most devastating piece of the span's history is recent, though. The hostile Dark Iron clan has ramped up attacks against the Kingdom of Ironforge, attacking caravans, overrunning archaeological sites, and detonating explosives on the Thandol Span, destroying the western bridge and seriously damaging the other. Dunmodra fell shortly after, and now the survivors of the garrison are fighting on the fringes of town, the Dark Iron War more apparent here than ever before. This is the point we find ourselves at as we approach level 30 in the Wetlands. Harlow Barnaby, one of the few survivors of the battle, has arrived at the town of Menethil Harbor seeking aid. "My wounds are grave. Most of the regiment was killed. The Dark Iron thugs attacked us before we could regroup from the Thandol Span ambush. Our leader, Longbraid, sounded the retreat horn. As we left the town, I was hit by a stray axe in the back. All went black. I awoke here in Menethil, but I fear for my fellow soldiers. Perhaps Longbraid is still alive. See if you can find him near Dunmodra." Traveling north to the overrun town, we do find Longbraid and a few other survivors laying siege to the town. Unable to counterattack, but also preventing the Dark Irons from pushing farther south, there are a few quests to tackle here, from liberating the town to tracking down Bulgarus the Foul, one of the masterminds behind the attack, but there's only one small quest chain that takes you to the bridge itself. "A tremendous explosion roared through the hills. 'Twas horrible, I tell you. We're in a world of hurt though, and I don't see any reinforcements in sight. Longbraid sent old Jediwarlock to scout the eastern bridge to see if we could secure it. That was days ago. We haven't the manpower to search for him with Dunmodra under siege. Perhaps you can find him." Venturing onto the bridge, you discover there are actually staircases, and an entire 2-story gatehouse built within the structure, and using a model viewer confirms the unique architecture of the build. There are even these small overlooks which make the bridge that much more detailed. You can enter from either side, and after dealing with a few Dark Iron stragglers, you find the body of Jediwarlock on the bottom floor, clutching a set of plans that reveal another cache of explosives is guarded nearby, with the Dark Irons preparing to blow the other bridge and sever the connection between the two zones entirely. Crossing to the other side of the bridge, you find a smaller wooden bridge branching off the beaten path and over to an encampment, where sure enough, an explosive wagon is defended by more enemies. Blowing up the cart before it can be used foils the Dark Iron plan, and that's pretty much the end of the main story, with a follow-up quest taking you deeper into the Arathi Highlands and beyond level 30. On the surface, that's all the Thandol Span has to offer. It's a cool landmark on the border of two solid zones, but after visiting the gatehouse briefly and dealing with the imminent threat on the other side, that's it, right? Well, not exactly. There's always something more to find if you know where to look. For those adventurous enough to check out the destroyed western bridge, a figure can be seen peeking out of the rubble. A survivor, perhaps? Looking out from the north edge of the collapse, you might think you'll be able to jump over and investigate, but without a speed potion, special ability, or a mount, you'll likely end up falling all the way down into the frigid strait below. If you are successful in parkouring over to the ruins, you meet Foggy McCreel, the lone survivor from the Western Bridge who is somehow still alive, and offers a single gimmicky quest. Had quite a bit of the old moonshine last night. Longbraid would have my head if he knew that I passed out during my watch. The noggin hurt something fierce. Felt as though a whole brigade of siege engines passed overhead. All that rumbling. Oh my, look at the time. I promised Brewmeister Bilger in South Shore that I'd repay my debt to him by sending him some moonshine. But there are just 15 minutes left before I'm overdue. Take him this batch, would you please? And hurry. From the vantage point here on the western side, one interesting detail you can see is that the eastern bridge was not entirely spared, and impacts from the blast have damaged it as well. But more importantly, an oblivious dwarf has given you an item of importance, you're on a time limit, and now you can't get back up from here. The only way to go is down, into the frigid water. Whether or not you make the jump the first time or not, your eventual destination is going to be here at the bottom of the bridge. Underwater, there is quite a bit of debris from the explosion to uncover, including a few cannons and catapults, along with some dwarven remains. Right next to the base of the bridge, very observant Alliance players might even pick up the waterlogged letter from this body, which starts one of the best hidden quest chains in the game. My fellow WoW content creator Nixium made a great video about this a few weeks ago, and I highly recommend you go check it out. There is even a bit of real-life history that ties into this dwarven tale. Back at the surface, it might take you a bit to find your bearings and decide where to go next. You can start swimming west, toward the town of South Shore, and it is possible to reach it by water with a few minutes left to spare. However, this really only applies if you accepted McCreel's quest, and there is a closer way to reach land. The answer lies to the east, where you can find a steep path leading from the water back up, right into the Dark Iron camp of enemies from earlier. In a humorous, almost troll kind of way, you are punished for falling off the bridge intentionally or not, and fighting through the camp will eat a few precious minutes off your timer, though it is possible to travel by land through Arathi and Hillsbrad to complete the delivery with a very tight margin for error. When I was doing these quests recently, the platforming element really stuck with me. And even though there is water below, falling anywhere on a hardcore character makes for a nerve-wracking experience. It's one of the few places in the open game world where jumping and navigating a 3D space really matters. And I think it's really cool the devs included a means of recovery even if you fall all the way down here. In the lore, the land surrounding the bridge was once called the Thandol Valley, and it's kinda neat to imagine the small, coastal environments, or even more primitive bridges that once existed down here before the span was constructed. There is one more NPC to be found here at the Thandol span who I want to discuss. Comar Villard, or Corma Villard if you play on today's classic servers. This NPC is a quest target for a Horde Warlock quest, and is said to be of pure heart and character, a loyal spouse searching for their lost partner in the Wetlands. The change to making this NPC a female happened as a part of the Blizzard brand safety update from a few years ago, and I think they were going for a more equitable message in terms of who can display these heroic traits, or maybe who can be an appropriate sacrifice to summon a succubus? Anyway, it's possible the Dark Irons played a role in the disappearance of this character's partner, and this is why we find Comar, or Corma, near the Thandol span. I think it's a rather fitting conclusion, but the true tale we may never know. Two more tiny details to end on today focus on Dun Modra. Inside the pillaged inn, you can encounter a friendly Dark Iron entrepreneur who will sell you some solid gear, and fighting your way down into the basement reveals a unique inn model without any bedrooms. The walls just end early, and the WMO file lists it as a Wetlands specific building, so I think it was made just for this, and I think that's kind of a neat point to end on. Even places you've walked by dozens of times can still hold secrets. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive, literally, into the nuts and bolts of the Thandol span and Dun Modra, and maybe next time you're questing through here, you'll look at these places in a whole new way. This is just one vignette within the broader dwarven story in classic WoW, and in the future I'd love to make a longer video documenting the entire saga, so let me know down in the comments. Feel free to also check out the new channel membership options for my channel, always optional and never expected, but they're now available for those who are interested. Until next time, may the Force be with you.